Hi there. I made a great amount of rescue videos for you because I'm sure you must know these real heroes that had hearts big enough to help poor creatures. In this video, you'll see the best and the most miraculous cases from our lists. So, it's time to remember and to feel touched again. People from the Rescue Journey channel received a call from a woman whose little dog was stuck between two pipes. They found the naughty and curious pup who couldn't get out and was terribly scared. The main purpose was not to hurt the little one. The dog was likely injured, as it was crying when the people tried to move the pipe. At last, the rescuers managed to move the pipes and took out the poor little thing. But happily, the pup was completely okay, and the rescuers brought her home. The Wildlife SOS rescue team came to the help of a leopard that fell down to the bottom of a 20-foot deep well. First of all, they found a way to let the animal stay afloat temporarily, lowering down the wooden plank. The poor cat was trapped in the water for several hours and was exhausted, and the rescuers had to find a way very quickly until it drowned. They sent down the trap cage. The leopard got into it without hesitation. After some treatment, the beautiful cat was brought back to the wild. You know Simon Cowell from Wildlife Aid pretty well, and this time he did another great thing. He managed to rescue a tiny fox cub stuck in the fence net in people's backyard. When Simon arrived, he saw a little cutie with his head in the net. It was desperately trying to release, but failed. The foxy was very afraid, and Simon could work only in thick gloves not to be bit with the fox's sharp teeth. When the rescuer was able to cut the net, the fox got very angry. He was crying and biting. The silly fox didn't understand what a big thing Simon had done for it. This both sad and funny story happened to the nice husky. This dog couldn't get out of the river and badly needed some help. It was yelping very sadly and did everything he could but failed. The silly thing was that a poor dog should have just done several steps sidewise to get out of its trouble, but it didn't realize that. Besides, the fluffy fool was resisting its salvation as he bit his rescuers every time they came closer. The man did his best to help the poor pup. He was trying, and at last, the mission was complete. Elephants often get into trouble, and sometimes they can't save themselves without humans' help. This time, a tiny elephant cub was held captive in a water hole without a step, and her mother couldn't help her. People from David Sheldrick Wildlife Trust came to rescue the poor little thing. The helicopter couldn't come very close for some time, as the mother elephant took the protective position, and it could be dangerous for rescuers to start the operation. At last, the noise of the propellers made her go a bit further. The rescuers had to act very quickly. The little elephant girl was saved and went slowly in her mom's direction. The family was reunited happily. Not only wild animals get into traps, sometimes this terrible thing happens to stray animals like cats or dogs. The unlucky thing occurred to this little guy. He felt a terrible pain and was extremely scared when a passing by man found him. When the rescuer came closer to help, the pup tried to run away, so it took some time to calm the poor animal down. At last, the man managed to take off this nasty trap and took the pup home to give him some food. The boy stayed with his kind-hearted rescuer. Besides, the pup made friends with his corgi and spends all his time playing with him. Here is one more project, Animal Rescue India, that helps animals in danger or trouble. Now, the guys were informed that a leopard had been stuck in a wall since the morning. On coming to the spot, the rescuers saw a huge male leopard stuck in barbed wire. The leopard got stuck trying to go through a small hole in the wall. Of course, the animal was extremely aggressive in his attempts to free himself. The doctors had to dart the animal twice to calm it down. When the leopard was partly conscious, the people started cutting off the wires. They needed the force of 6 men to lift the creature. On bringing him to the hospital, the vets tested him thoroughly. The leopard was under observation and care for 38 hours and then released back into the wild. The team of Rescue Journey channel were driving along the street when suddenly found a dog stuck out on the wall with no one to help. The The owner was out and didn't know what happened to the pup. The poor boy wanted to go for a walk through the hole in the wall, but it turned out to be too narrow for him to slip through. The rescuer didn't know if the dog had some injuries and tried tenderly to take him out. He managed to do that almost without any problem. Happily, the pup was absolutely okay and had no traumas. But he could have gotten them if he had stayed in this hole for a long time. Releasing the cute boy, they let the dog wait for his owner. There is one more marine animal that got in trouble. A gorgeous 4 or 5 ton orca became trapped in the rocks on the British Columbia coastline. It was the tide to blame. The rescuers couldn't bring the orca to the water without hurting the animal, but they wanted to help. So, people worked for almost 8 hours to keep the orca wet until the tide came back in. They were constantly wetting her down to cool and avoid dehydration of the black and white beauty. At last, water began to rise.
Yes! Oh my God.
There was a great sigh of relief when people saw the animal could get out of the rock and swam away. This situation could have ended as a complete disaster if the kind people from Animal Aid Unlimited India had not come to rescue this unlucky donkey. His legs flail when he's completely stuck upside down in a ditch. 3 rescuers were trying to take him out, and they managed to do that. Nobody knows how the poor thing got into this ditch, but I hope it won't do that again. This older dog was wounded seriously, having a big hole near his ear. It was a maggot case with dozens of small tunnels bored through the flesh. And of course, he suffered terrible pain. But he could meet the rescuers from Animal Aid Unlimited India with his tail wagging and greeted them warmly. The people took him from the streets to the hospital. There, doctors removed the maggots, cleaned and dressed the wound. They had to change his bandages daily for several weeks, but the pup was the best little patient ever. The rescuers named him Moti and wanted him to get better as fast as possible. And he did. Because of his loving nature, he reacted eagerly on care and attention, and it helped him to recover very quickly. Moti was very grateful to all the people that helped him return to normal dog's life. This team of rescuers from Kenya Wildlife Project had a very serious mission. 3 days before, the grown-up elephant had been seen with a wire on its leg. It was obvious that the elephant had gotten into snare and needed to be released, but the creature suddenly went off air. Luckily that day, the elephant appeared again, and the vet rushed to help the poor animal. The rescuers sent the giant to sleep from a distance, as coming closer to him could be a rather dangerous thing. With a pair of big nippers, they cut the wire. The vet made the necessary injection and the elephant was left alone. After a while, the animal came around and went away. I don't want to even think what could have happened without the people's help. In this case, the dog chased the small deer into the lake, and the scared animal was trying to swim across. But the deer wasn't strong enough, so it stopped in the middle and was about to drown. The fisherman Justin Royal rushed to help the poor animal and took it out of the water.
I just rescued a baby deer.
It was exhausted, and Justin came to help it just in time. The poor thing couldn't even stand on its own feet. Getting to the shore, Justin with his girl tried to dry and warm the deer up. Sometime later, the animal felt much better. The rescuers took the little one with them, as they were afraid to leave it alone. The deer was too weak to walk and could become prey of a predator. Justin kept the deer in his garage for some time, and when it could walk, released it into the wild. Foxes get stuck in fences very often. They're very curious and persistent in trying to get somewhere for food. This time, Simon Cowell from Wildlife Aid came to the call about the foxy that stuck in the net fence with its leg. When he arrived, the fox was in terrible stress trying to get out. During the rescue operation, an aggressive dog appeared and started to attack the poor fox. It took Simon some efforts to fence out the dog. When he released the fox, its leg was badly injured. He took the animal to the hospital, where doctors were trying to cure the wound. The fox had to stay in the hospital for some time. But then Simon took it to the place where he had found it earlier and let it go. The rescuers from Animal Aid Unlimited India got a call about a dog, which was crying like hell. It turned out that her pups were buried under the rubble of a house that had collapsed. The people came to the place the mommy dog led them and started taking out rocks. The mom was so nervous that prevented the rescuers from helping her. At last, they heard the babies' voices. The only thing they had to do is move away all the stuff. When the rescuer took the first pup, he was amazingly small. They took the pups one by one, and luckily all of them were okay. The people found the family a new home, and the mom felt very relieved that her babies were rescued. And of course, she was very grateful. This amazing story happened in Vygotsero Lake in a very picturesque Russian Karelia region. The mom of these two little guys left them in the water when they were crossing the enormous water basin. She realized that she had overestimated her strength and got back to the shore, leaving the poor creatures struggling for life by themselves. The two bear cubs were barely alive as they had been staying in the water for a rather long time. When they saw a fishing boat, they rushed to it in search of help. They felt somehow that the fishermen were their only hope for survival. This video shows the rescue of one bear that clings to the side of the boat and was hopefully waiting for the fishermen to take him out of the water. The men were a bit afraid of these two little predators, but decided to bring them to the little island where their mom had gone. It was an extremely dangerous mission, but the rescuers knew they had to do this. The Hope for Paws rescue team got an emergency call from a scared woman who had suddenly realized that she had been driving for some time with a kitten inside her engine. It was rather difficult task to get to the kitten, as it had to go to a very deep place inside the car. The kitty was extremely scared and was fuffing aggressively.
Let's just establish that I'm not afraid of you. It's okay.
It was a great challenge to take it out and not let it run towards the traffic. With the help of people living nearby, the rescuers blocked the way to the road. But the kitten managed to run away and hide under another car. This tiny thing was a real troublemaker. It traveled from one car to another until hiding in the engine of the last car. The rescuers spent 20 minutes waiting for the owner of the car to open the vehicle cover. The naughty kitten was saved. After having a bath, the nice ginger beauty was very happy to stay with his rescuer. A poor puppy fell into the deep pond and was trying to get out without success. The young man took the poor boy out of the water and took him home. Nobody knew how much time the little one spent in the water, so the man washed him out. The pup was so tired and trustful and let the man do all the necessary things. The man dried him off with a hairdryer to warm the dog. I hope the nice and cute boy is okay after all that happened to him. This terrible situation happened to the poor 1-year-old leopard in Maharashtra, India. The Wildlife SOS organization found him and brought him to the rescue center. The first checking showed that the forelimbs couldn't move, and there were a lot of serious wounds on his neck. As the specialist thought, the wild animal was hurt by another leopard in the fighting. The doctors were doing their best, trying to bring the young cat to normal life. The vets carried a series of extended medical treatments to do that. After months of therapy, he began to walk again. If an elephant falls in a pit, it's almost impossible for him to get out. People in Botswana know about this unpleasant thing and try to come to the rescue of these beautiful giants. This time, rescuers found an adult elephant lying helplessly in the hole in the dry ground. They didn't know how long he had been there. The elephant was very tired and aggressive. The people hurried to give the poor animal some water because he was obviously thirsty. The only way to take him out was to make the narrow pit wide, so they widened the walls of the pit with the help of mattocks and spades. They had to work hard and quickly because the elephant was feeling worse. The second part of the operation was to drag the animal out of the hole. Using chains, ropes, and a track, the rescuers managed to do that. It was one more happy ending. The rescuers from Flatbush Cats channel found this cat in the street. Cats are very good groomers, and the dirty fur of this poor thing meant that the animal was ill or really distressed. The cat had scratches all over its face, as the cat was very eager to be touched and the rescuer that he was abandoned or thrown away. The man gave him some food and brought in his home and carrier. It was obvious that the boy had some fleas and needed medication. Before going to the vet, the rescuer gave him a bath and combed out fleas. The cat was so happy to find a person who would take care of him. that he even didn't move while the man was doing this unpleasant job. The doctors healed all his health problems, and Winston, as the rescuers called him, was ready for his new family. On the journey around Mosi Oa National Park, the tourist guide with his company found a zebra, which was badly trapped in a wire snare. These snares are put up by poachers to catch animals, and this zebra was lucky because people spotted it. The rescue team came very quickly. They put a branch over the zebra's neck to prevent the animal from struggling too much and injuring himself, and started freeing the leg from the snare. When everything was finished, the animal didn't realize at once that he was released, but at last it got up and ran away in an unknown direction. It was a lucky chance for the striped thing. The people from Wildlife Aid Project saved numerous orphaned and abandoned fox cubs. Without their help, the little ones wouldn't have any chance for survival. Some of them get to the center being very young and not even capable enough of eating by themselves. They grow in the center, and when they are old enough to live alone, the rescuers release them back into the wild. This time, several grown-up foxes were ready to start their new life in the forest. The people took them in the cases and left them in open spaces to get used to different sounds, smells, and creatures they would meet being free. Sometime later, the cages were opened, and the foxes left the environment which had been their home for many months. The specialists from Wildlife Aid hope that the animals will have a great life. This stray dog was a part of a local landscape, as she had been living on the streets for months. But the poor thing got sick with mange, and instead of receiving medical care, she was chased away, as people were repelled by her look. When the rescuers from Howl of a Dog came to the place, they understood that it would be a problem to take the pup from the street, as she didn't trust anyone. But at last, they managed to put a leash on Heidi, as the rescuers called the poor creature. The anxious dog relaxed only in the car, where she got some food. Heidi's skin was in terrible condition, and the doctor spent a lot of time to cure the unlucky girl. Heidi turned out to be a very clever pup, realizing that the people wouldn't do her any harm. Almost 2 months passed when Heidi was completely recovered. She was very happy to have her new life. National parks are rather safe places for wild animals, but they sometimes get in trouble even there. Here, in the Kruger National Park, rangers had to deal with buffaloes that got stuck in the swampy mud. Buffaloes are very big and heavy, so to get them out of danger was a really difficult task. The rescuers spent a lot of time dragging out some of them. They even used a car to solve this problem. At last, the team managed to save all the animals from the herd. Sorry to say, the buffaloes didn't appreciate that and attacked their rescuers. The people had to save themselves, getting quickly into the track. Yes, the buffaloes were not very intelligent to realize that people wanted to help them, but it doesn't mean they didn't need our support. Here is one more deer trapped in a fence. Simon Cowell from Wildlife Aid hurried to save the unlucky little thing. At first, he didn't know whether it could just be a case of release or if the animal would need serious help. The space between the bars of the fence was so narrow that it was almost impossible to understand how this guy had managed to get in such a trap. Luckily, the deer didn't have any serious problems with its health. Simon wanted to use the metal sheets to help the deer to get out. He put some jackets on the head of the animal to calm it down. The rescuer decided to pull instead of pushing to prevent more injuries to the deer, and everything was okay. The deer ran away as quickly as possible. The injured dog was helplessly dragging himself along the gutter. The poor creature was terribly hit in the head by a car, and he would have had no chance to survive if the people from Animal Aid Unlimited India hadn't come to help the dog. He was disoriented completely. The rescuers took the unlucky guy to the hospital, where the doctors treated him immediately from pain and brain trauma. The rescuers didn't know if they would manage to save him, but they were trying. He felt really bad for several days. On the third day, the pup started eating. The boy had to learn to walk, and the doctors were helping him. Unfortunately, the dog lost one of his eyes, but otherwise, he made a complete recovery. The people from Hope for Paw Project got a call about a scared, injured dog.
No, I know.
To find the poor boy was a great problem, as the industrial area where he lived was huge. Seeing people, the dog rushed in another direction, and it was rather a challenge for the rescuers to catch it. The dog was fighting fiercely in spite of being badly injured. When the little one saw a cheeseburger, he realized that it was much tastier than the people's fingers. The rescuers took the pup very carefully to the car and brought it to the hospital. There the doctors cleaned him up and got rid of all his fleas. The x-rays showed that the dog's pelvis was crushed. So the pup had to undergo surgery, and after that was healing for some time. But now he is okay. The rescue of a dog unable to walk. These people from Animal Aid Unlimited in India did a very precious thing. The poor pup had a very big problem with his pelvis, as it was badly injured, and the little buddy could neither walk nor stand at all. There were no fractures, but his nerves were seriously damaged. So this boy needed a very long psychotherapy period, a lot of love and cuddles. Every day, people were trying to stand him again and again, doing some massage and trying to calm the babe down. So did the pup himself. He was constantly working so hard, trying to make his legs walk. It took the people and the little cutie a month of practice to give him back to normal dog's life. Apollo is the name of a cute little rhino calf which was successfully rescued on the 19th of September. The representatives of Sheldrick Wildlife Trust in Kenya got the call about the poor creature, which had just been spotted standing beside his dead mother. The young calf needed to be rescued before it fled too far from its mother. So, people sent a helicopter to take the baby out. Once the helicopter arrived on site, the calf got scared and took off in the opposite direction. The flying and ground team spent a lot of time searching for the tricky boy. Daylight was fast running out, and the rescuers knew that the baby wouldn't survive the night because there were a lot of predators around. It took the people a lot of effort to locate and took the rhino to the rescue center. But now, Apollo, as the baby was named, has a good chance to live a happy rhino life. The rescuers from Clearwater Marine Aquarium Research Institute found an adult female manatee stranded on a sandy berm. It got stuck in the sand trying to swim between two rivers. Sometime before, the animal had crossed the water flow made by people successfully and decided to do it again, but failed this time. The reason is that there was almost no water that day. With the help of a bulldozer, the rescuers helped the water come to the place where the unlucky animal was lying helplessly. While doing it, they put a satellite transmitter on the manatee's body. When there was enough water, the people took the helpless manatee to get into open water. After that, they were monitoring the health of the animal for some time. What do you imagine when you hear the word koala? I'm sure something fluffy and cute, but these nice little things also get into trouble. This one climbed very high upwards in the tree and couldn't get down. The specialists from Koala Ambulance Rescue Organization sent a team to take the animal down. The rescuer had to get extremely high, and it was obviously dangerous, but the koala needed help. It was a very difficult task to catch it. The koala was taken to the hospital to check, and after that was released to the wild. I hope it won't be such a crazy guy again. This unlucky squirrel stuck in the bird feeder. People who found the poor thing couldn't help it because the scared animal was resisting fiercely. The rescuers had to put on thick gloves to be far from the sharp teeth of the terrified squirrel. He took off the bird feeder and cut off the bars. Being released, the fluffy cutie ran away with great speed. Green sea turtles are endangered species. That's why people from different conservation societies came to the sandy beaches of the Southwest African islands to save these unique creatures. The reptiles come to these islands every year to lay eggs, but this territory is not a safe place for turtles now, as people gather coconuts there. The broken trees and coconuts are all over the place, making traps for the poor animals. The rescuers found several turtles stuck among the branches. Some of them were in very dangerous conditions. The people helped the animals to get out and took some of them to the water with their own hands. The rescue teams come to these islands regularly to do their significant job.